All right, everybody, welcome back to True Crime Loser. How you doing? I hope you had a good weekend. I did. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but I don't know. I'm just pushing through at this point. It had its time to get me down. But yeah, hopefully that everyone's doing well. I'm running a little bit behind today, but that's all right. So, a couple people over the weekend had commented on videos about a possible Chris Watts movie someday. Like they'll make the whole thing into a movie. And I agree that it's a very big possibility. I think people will be fascinated with this case, just like Zodiac, just like stuff like that for years and years and years to come. And I can totally see them making a movie about it. And so I couldn't help it. I had to come up with my opening scene to the Chris Watts movie. And whoever does actually write the movie, you can use this. Just pay me. All right, so here we go. Chris Watts movie opens up on a wide shot, looking down an empty Colorado road with beautiful mountains and blue sky, and it's quiet and serene, and it's just showing beautiful Colorado. And then all of a sudden, down the road, just vroom, a green F-250 work truck drives by. And as it drives by, and that vroom of it driving by, Metallica's Battery starts, which is the song that Chris either listened to a bunch after he disposed of his family or he just looked up the lyrics. I tend to think Chris is kind of a dum-dum, so I bet he listened to it. I can't see him really enjoying just lyrics on a page, you know? Like, have you ever seen a lizard look at a tree or something? There's just not much. So anyway, as the truck drives by, Battery from Metallica starts, and you should listen to it. It starts with this really, like, lonely, haunting acoustic guitar part. And so that's going, and then it'd be like a shot of Chris's hand on the steering wheel with dirt in his fingernail, and then it's that lonely, haunting acoustic guitar, and then it'd show a shot of the back seat that's empty, and then it would show a shot of the sweat on his brow. And I thought Christian Bale would play a good Chris Watts. They kind of have the same facial structure, and I think that Christian Bale could really get Chris's stupid, like, speech rhythm down. So anyway, so that's haunting acoustic guitar, and it shows a couple shots of sweat on his brow and the empty truck and maybe the shovel in the back. And the song, it's like that acoustic guitar for a little bit, and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then at one point it goes into like heavy metal, like electric guitar with distortion and everything. And so it's building, and Chris is driving with a sweaty brow and dirty pants, and it's building, and right before the song switches to that heavy metal, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and right before it cuts to Cindy Watts scooping out the ice cream with the nuts in it, and it says 2 weeks earlier, or however much it is. And that's how I'd start the movie. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just a sick person for thinking about that, but all right, let's get into this video. This video picks up right as Chris is begging to ask for his dad, which I have never seen. Has anyone ever seen someone's parent come in for the confession? I mean, Chris, what a boner move. Either ask for a lawyer and just shut your mouth, or just tell him what happened. You don't need to ask for your dad. I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather tell Tammy and Graham that I did that than my dad. I think my dad would just smack me across the face and be like, what? What? But Chris slithers to the beat of his own drum, and so he asks for his dad. And Graham obliged, and it turned out it worked out for him. So they First, Chris wants to talk to his dad outside of the room, and he goes, "Can I just talk to him out there? I've been in here for like 6 hours." And I was thinking, 6 hours, Chris? This is your new shit. White small rooms. You can't be cracking after 6 hours. This is all you're gonna do for the rest of your life. So, just get used to it. And they're like, "Nah, you can't leave the room, buddy, but we'll bring your dad in here," and they leave. And then for the first time, Chris drops the act a little bit. He had been kind of just, every time they left the room, he had been kind of just sitting there and acting like, "Oh, I'm just an innocent guy that my family left me, and hoping everyone just goes with that so I can go hang out with my mistress." But this time, for the first time in the whole thing, when they left, he puts his head in his hands, which is, if you've watched interrogations, this right here means I am fucked. And then about as soon as he puts his head in his hands, he pops up. He almost like he realized, all right, that looked guilty. But still, there's signs of cracking. And then old Ronnie comes in. And I'll probably get hate for this, but I don't really have anything too bad to say about Ronnie. In all the videos I've watched, he looks like he was great with the kids. I think he's just a grandpa that has a real dysfunctional family. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I've ever seen him do anything that is really hateable or is like, damn, that dude's a psycho. So Ronnie comes in. And Chris goes, "So, polygraph, failed it." Just cracked me up, that's how he said it. Polygraph, failed it. Family, failed it. NASCAR mechanic, failed it. Life, pretty much failed it. Living in a shitbox, crushed it. Yeah, so Chris goes, polygraph, failed it. And Ronnie goes, "What, too much emotion?" And it's just funny that the phrase "too much emotion" is used to describe lizard face Chris. That will be the only time that the phrase "too much emotion" was even in the same room as Chris. And then we have a whole new direction in this thing. Chris's new story. And it starts with him saying she hurt them. And Chris and his dad start talking in like this like quiet voice, like Chris doesn't want all the microphones. And Chris kind of gets this attitude of like, Shanann hurt them, and like, what did you want me to do? What could I have done? I didn't know what to fucking do. She hurt them. And he goes exactly with the story that Tammy had just asked him. So to me, this just means Chris is just literally flying by the seat of his pants. He's got no plan that he's going with at this point. He's just he's drowning, and he's just grasping, and he's like, "Oh, Tammy said this." And in his head, I think he's thinking, all right, if I can get them to believe that Shanann did the kids and then I did her in a rage, then maybe I'll get like 25 years and I'll be paroled, or I'll get temporary insanity and get less, or I won't get the death penalty. This is just pure survival. But his story that he went downstairs after telling Shanann that he wanted the separation, his story doesn't really work, because his story is that she hurt them and then those are his kids. Those are my kids. Those are my kids. She hurt my kids. It's like, okay, well, if those are your kids and it sent you into a murderous rage to see them hurt, then why in the lizard face God, did you not call 911? You didn't. If you're, it's like Tammy has the line, if my kid was decapitated, or maybe Graham said that, I would still call 911. And not only did he not call 911, he drove them out and crammed them in oil tanks. And so saying I freaked out and was in a rage just makes no sense, because you jammed them in. So that right there cancels this whole story. So then for the next, I don't know, period of time, they're just stuck being like, Chris. And also, Chris, I think Chris, more than anything, more than not wanting to confess, he didn't want to tell them where he put the bodies, because the way he, got rid of those bodies, damn, you got to be a cold mother effer to do that. And he gets himself, there's no way. So he tells his dad, she hurt them, I hurt her. And then his dad goes, what, you haul off? You just haul off the bodies? And he goes, yeah, I didn't know what to do. I literally didn't know what to do. And Ronnie is just sitting there going, God almighty, son. That's really not something I would want my dad to say in a police interrogation room, is God almighty, son. I get that feeling throughout this whole case. Like sometimes I'll just be laying in bed with my 2 pillows that I love, with my comforter, and just comfortable in bed and be like, yeah, I get to enjoy this because I didn't do something stupid and murder my family where I have to just have a shit life. Like, it's kind of nice to just have my own stuff and to go outside and look at the sky and have a girlfriend. And I get that feeling watching true crime a lot, of just like, yes, I get to eat some pizza right now and have some coffee. Have a down comforter. Thank God. That's enough for me to never just do anything horrible. It's just having a down comforter and some pillows. I wouldn't do good in prison. I'm too small. I like pillows. Would not be a good combination. All right, let's see what I do. I'm rambling. Oh yeah, Chris says, in like the first time in 7 hours, Chris looks at his dad and says, that's the last time I'm going to see the light of day. And it's like, Chris, good for you. You finally said a sentence that doesn't have the word like in it. Or honestly. And it was actually true. Good for you, buddy. And so he knows, at least, and I love that, at least he's smart enough to know that that's it. And that believes me to think he knew going in that morning. Oh yeah, someone asked a question that I liked on one of the last videos, that he said, in my opinion, could Chris have done anything to give himself one more, on the polygraph day, give himself one more night in his own bed? And I thought about it a lot, and here's the only angle that I can think of that he could have gone home that day and slept in his bed. And that is, when they were warming up to take the polygraph, she asked if he had done any drugs, if he had smoked any weed or anything. And then she said, because if you had, we can't do the polygraph. So I think what Chris could have done to give himself one more day is, right when she said that, if he would have gone, oh, damn, I took a Xanax. I took a half a Xanax last night, and I actually took a half one this morning. My friend gave them to me because I'm just beside myself with my family missing, and I'm terrified they're murdered and being hurt. So I've just like kind of been having panic attacks, and so I took, and that's not really that crazy. A lot of times when people's lose a loved one, their doctor will prescribe them like 30 Xanax or Klonopin or whatever, or like 5 or 10 or whatever, just like a real small amount to get them through that first just horrific period where they're not eating and they can't sleep. And so I think if he would have just said, "Oh, I took a Xanax," I think that would have put a screeching halt to the polygraph. And then I think if he could have said, "I can't sit here anymore. I'm sorry that the medication is affecting me more than I thought it would. I think I just need to go home." And if he would have just I think they would have been like, "All right, go home." And I think maybe they would have gotten a search warrant or found the bodies, but I think that could have given Chris one more day. Possibly, I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have bought it, and then they maybe would have drug tested him at some point and been like, "No, you didn't." But anyway, that's my answer to that guy. Hope it was good. All right, what else do I got? Oh yeah, so Ronnie, they're still in there, and Ronnie goes, "Well, we'll get a lawyer and see what we can do." And boom, the door. It's like Tammy heard the word lawyer and kicked open the door, and it's like in cartoons, the door flies open, and she comes in just rubbing the back. "Come here, Chris. I know you like, I know you like your back rubbed, Chris." And I think that is just Tammy being like, "I'm the one to talk to, Chris. We're all friends. I'm like your dad. Just, you're about to spill." And yeah, like I said earlier, has anybody heard? I'm asking this question. Has anyone heard of anyone having their parent in there while they're confessing? Because I haven't. Is that a first? I could see maybe with like a younger person how it could help. Like, all right, we're going to bring your mom in or something. But as a 32-year-old, I'm the same age as Chris, and even though he looks like 53, as a 32-year-old, I wouldn't want my parent in there. I would just say, "God damn it." I would either just not talk, or I would say, "Damn it," and kind of do like a Russell Williams thing and just be totally honest. I think those are the only respectable options. Just say, "Lawyer, please. Lawyer, please. Can you please talk to us?" "Nope, lawyer, please." Or just, "You know what, guys? I blew it, and here's what happened." Just stop spending money on the investigation. Stop spending everyone's time on the investigation. Let the person that was going to go on vacation, but here solving the crime, let him go on vacation. I'll just tell you what. I'll just tell you what I did. Those, I think, to me, are the respectable ways to do it. And I don't know. I got this feeling just as I'm kind of wrapping up on the whole Chris Watts case. I got this just feeling watching it last night of Chris is just such a boner. And that word to me just means like I think that he was probably when he's hanging out with his buddies like in school, he was the guy that when he would say something, everyone would just be like, "Cool, Chris. Sweet, buddy." And I think that's probably why he's quiet, because his whole life he has no idea. I keep going back to that story that he told about how he wooed Shanann, like his example of how he wooed her, how he just ran back to the car to get his ID, which everyone would have to do if you forgot your ID. And I just keep thinking about that and thinking how many times in his life has he, obviously in school, kids are meaner. So when he says something like that, they can be like, "Cool, bud," like, "Cool, Chris," and make fun of him. But even going into adulthood where people are nicer, how many times has he just said something like that and everyone's just like, "What? Chris, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. And you have a lizard face. Why is that? What is going on?" And I think, honestly, that's why he's quiet. I think that he really got good at just surviving in the moment, and he figured out that, okay, when I talk, everyone goes, "What? What? You ran back to the car and you have a lizard face? I don't understand." So, moving on. Yeah, I don't know. That might just be a good stopping place. I'm getting around 20. So anyway, I think that I'm about done with the Watts case. I might do a couple more on just finishing out this interrogation, like one more video, and then maybe a video about the nightmare of your partner not getting along with your family, and also for Shanann, how it not getting along with the mom of. That's very interesting, and I think a lot of people can relate. I think a lot of people's wife doesn't get along with their family, and I think a lot of people don't get along with their partner's family. It's pretty interesting, but I can feel it myself just kind of winding down. It'll be fun to do other cases and stuff, but I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you have a great day. True Crime Loser out.